sold the old property, got a bit of money, and now I'm searching for the new project. Property hunting, having a look at something that's been suggested to us. I can't get over how silent it is, except for the sound of the stream and the insects and the birds. It's above the village, deep into the woods. Looks like someone's been along here recently with a tractor, but that's only a good thing. You can see from the dry stone walls and the way of the land here that this would have been open meadows and pasture land for the livestock. Maybe only 20 years ago, but now how the forest has crept back in, starting to swallow all of the old properties and the old barns. There's something quite magical about exploring these old dwellings. There's nobody around, you feel like you've gone back in time. Everywhere you look, there's evidence of how they would have lived in a traditional way.
Oh god, Dan, there are lots of bats. Sorry, there are shitloads of bats here.
Right, well, I'll disturb them.
No, let me film them first.
Okay.
Bird! Little sweeties.
It's kind of creepy, but beautiful. Everything is just going back to the earth. You never know what you're going to find in the next room, though. So it is fascinating to peek around the old house, but this is only 15 or 20 years old, I think. And maybe, wouldn't know. But I'm not too interested. If I buy this, I'll be knocking it all down and starting from fresh. Plan would be to keep the ground floor, the stone foundation. This is something I'd struggle to replicate, and keep as much of the timber frame as possible, but to build on top of that. This is the skin of an Asclepian snake, one of the constrictors. They prey on mice and sessels that hide in the old ruins. Look at that beam. Here is an old workbench. I restored one at my old place. It seems like a standard build. But it's missing the handle for this end vise. So yeah, I guess he made some furniture, or maybe made the beehives, which we found upstairs. Forgot to film that. So we're calling this the Beekeeper's Cottage. Maybe he just made beehives, but he probably kept bees up here in the meadows and the forests. Made a bit of honey. So here I'm just trying to work out the consistency of the cob. This clay render that they're using to patch up the frames which are built of oak. So you can see the render isn't standing the test of time too well, but I think it's just a case of maintaining it, and it's a natural material found literally under your feet locally, and this is the same technique I'd like to use to restore it. Timber framed cottage up in the hills and the mountains, catches the western sun. Perfect. Plums, hazelnuts, an apple tree, a stream, and a river. Look how the timbers jet out, that's so gorgeous. But the pointing's been done recently with cement. It looks ghastly. It'd be really good to repoint that and bring out the original stone again. Try and knock off that ugly modern cement and make it look a bit more as it should. Exactly what I'm talking about. The access is absolutely terrible, almost inaccessible, but we can work with that. A new roof, and half of the upstairs needs to be redone. Perfect. Check out this little barn. This beautiful old barn is still standing strong, and this is critical to every home. keeping hay for the winter to feed the animals, and they would have loaded this barn with pitchforks and a wagon, harvested all of the hay from the meadows around with scythes and pitchforks. It's all been grazed by cows, which is quite handy. Looking again here how they've built the dry stone wall, these big limestone blocks, you can see how it's built from either side. And here's a nice example of the wattle, the woven sticks that fill the frames that provide the tensile strength, and then the clay is slapped on the inside and outside. So it's a mix of straw and sand and maybe animal hair, so to get the consistency right. Obviously it doesn't last as well as a stone wall, but I think it flies up a lot quicker. These aren't just woven sticks, they're actually split and cleaved to make it easier to wrap around. So this wattle and daub technique is the way I would like to restore it. So that is really, really exciting. I really hope it's for sale. Timber frame really falling down, which is perfect. And silence, just the sound of the insects. Probably this isn't the one for sale. Maybe Dimitar's given us the wrong location. I hope it is. Well, thank you folks for letting us have a look around your home. May you rest in peace, and a very peaceful spot it is. Alright, off to check out another property. Well, on our way home, we stumbled upon the house that we were actually supposed to be looking at, and it turned out Dimitar, who was born in the village, had given us the wrong pin. I don't know if we'll be able to find the owners of this property in order to buy it or make an offer. We were both really charmed by the Beekeeper's cottage. It could really work as a project, but there are many more ruins to explore, and that's where we're off to next.
Okay, fini.